the investors have to see there are two things that look at. One is the development. We are looking at the development, where the land is, where the house or apartment is coming up, who is the architect, what are the prices, what are the payment terms, and everything you look at. You are looking at only the development. It is very important or more important to see as well as who the developer is. That is where your money is going to be.
Hello and welcome to another information session with Dwellings Group. Today, we are joined by Premalal Brahmanage, the Group Chairman of Prime Lands Group in Sri Lanka. And we are also joined by Sanjika Abhayratna, the Director of Dwellings Group.
Today we have Mr. Premalal Brahmanage, Chairman of Prime Group Sri Lanka at Dwellings Group Office, to discuss some important property investment scenarios to help the Sri Lankan current financial situation. And Mr. Premalal, thank you very much for coming to our office. It's an honor. And I know that Sri Lanka is going through some financial issues, so at this stage we need some dollar remittance going back to Sri Lanka. So at Dwellings Group, we are trying out some opportunities and options to how the expatriate Sri Lankans living in Australia can help while benefiting and while doing an investment in Sri Lanka. So thank you for accepting our invitation. First of all, Mr. Premalal, I would like you to elaborate what Prime Group is doing in Sri Lanka and what is your projects and current ongoing opportunities for our clients from Australia or any part of the world outside of Sri Lanka can help in this current situation.
Yeah, basically, once again, thank you for having me. And basically, when it comes to Prime Group has been established 26 years ago, and it's one of the largest real estate company in Sri Lanka.
I think it's number one, I guess.
Yes, right. So then, and we have A rating, credit rating of ICRA, A rating, which is very good. And even with the current financial crisis, we have been upgraded to A, from A minus to A from ICRA, the subsidiary of Modi. And we have completed 37 apartment projects, and another 5 or 6 projects are ongoing. And we have sold, I think, over 4,000 lands development projects, and another 15-20 housing development projects. And by far, in all the segments like land development, housing, as well as the apartment, we are there, and we are the largest. So we have from lands from 2 to 3 million rupees up to 400-500 million rupees apartments. So that we are fully spread all across the country. And at the moment also we have the largest land bank in Sri Lanka, where we have 800 acres of lands for sales around the country, in covering most of the districts. So, and then our grand project, Prime Grand, which is the flagship project of the company, is almost nearing completion. That's at Colombo 7 boat place, adjacent to former President Jayawardena's house. And it's almost completed now, getting completed. Another 2-3, by December it will be completed anyway. And that has 850 square feet of 1,000 square feet of building, 160 meters high, and then that's a really luxurious one. And 850 square means something like 20-21 acres across something like that, if you think of horizontally. So like that, we are all spreaded, and then across the country by way of the lands. And so at the moment, what really is that our currency has been depreciated. So as a result, for expatriates like you, people who are living out of Sri Lanka, they have really found that the lands and the apartments, houses are really cheap. Actually, it's 50% of the value in terms of dollars. So it's a really attractive proposition, as well as at the same time you are helping the country as well.
So, Premalal, that is very impressive scope of work that you are doing under the banner of Prime Group. And as Dwellings Group, we are very proud to be partnered up with Prime Group on an exclusive basis in Australia. So we can help all the services in Australia from our offices in Australia and Melbourne to support to do and purchases and investments in Sri Lanka. So Premalal, now yes, we have a currency issue. We need dollars in the country, and in this situation, coming out of Sri Lanka and promoting this is helping the country. And I must appreciate and thank you for doing this and coming all the way from Sri Lanka to Melbourne for that purpose. And we are honored and very proud to be partnered up with Prime Group on that basis. Now, Premalal, your business have two main sections, which is apartment projects and land projects. Now, you said in your introduction you have land starting from 2 to 3 million, and it goes to the highest level of luxury and highest land back in Sri Lanka. Now, if any Australian expatriate people live here were thinking to do an investment and buying a property in Sri Lanka, your dollar will get higher rupees, and this is the best time to buy that on that scenario, because if you are trying to buy something in last year, if you had to spend $20,000, I think now you may need only about $10,000, so as an example. Now, Premalal, these lands, let's talk about the lands now. So can you tell us where these lands are scattered across in Sri Lanka? Can they buy anywhere in Sri Lanka, or where are the locations?
We have land, as I mentioned you, across the country. Now, for example, when you get down by the from to Katunayaka airport, just about not even 1 kilometer facing Negombo Road, then by the huge lagoon frontage one, about 13 acres of land, like that we are having everywhere. Mottala, then again Kadawatha, then Gampaha, by the Gampaha near Kacheri, we have about that's also about 15 acres which is going to be do like that.
Yeah, so basically you are covering every part of Sri Lanka.
Who wants, they have options of going and then investing for the in Sri Lanka.
So actually this is an opportunity now. You know, we know that investors had only options of large investments before. I'm talking about several years ago. Either you had to buy a large land, it's a huge investment. Now this is an opportunity that if you're ever thinking of doing a small investment, you can go for these lands, not spending huge amount of money. And also these lands being subdivided by #1 real estate company in Sri Lanka, Prime Group. So the legality, the background checks, the deeds, if you look at, you know, you might have problems of whether these deeds have clear history, whether will I go into a legal matters after I purchase these lands, how you can avoid those kind of situations for our buyers, because that is one of the important things when they are considering when they are buying, because they don't have direct legal support back in Sri Lanka. But now with this partnership we can offer these services through Prime Group as well. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown on that as well?
Yes. Thank you for joining with us, Dwelling Group. And first of all, we will have to see from whom we are buying. The investors have to see there are two things that look at. One is the development. We are looking at the development, where the land is, where the house or apartment is coming up, who is the architect, what are the prices, what are the payment terms, and everything you look at. You are looking at only the development. It is very important or more important to see as well as who the developer is. That is where your money is going to be. So otherwise you would know that whether your project will come up or your land may be okay, or if you are going for a payment plan, after payment plan, whether you will get it your land. So that is very important, who the developer is. That is where your money. So that's where people have to look into the companies like us and like John Keels and like good companies where your money is safe. So that is very important in this concept, especially when you are outside in the country.
Yes, and Premalal, this is when you are buying a land, it is subdivided by your group, so you're buying a block of land. Now, one of the concern would our customers will have, okay, you're buying a land, but you're not going to go and look after those lands. Nobody is around it. So will my borders going to move, or if somebody else change it, or how I'm going to protect that kind of situations. So we can offer you fencing and gardening solutions on top of your pages,
for
right?
in the request, of course, we can give that service. So we can have some people for that, and with a fee we can arrange for that also. And then for the earlier question also, we have for the deeds we are checking, the approvals we are checking, with all those after checking only we do, so that you don't have to really worry about those aspects, and the conveyancing part of that has been looked after. But
even the legal side, now we are actually working with the legal team of Prime Group, and we have a dwellings group legal support here, but we can do all these background checks and making sure that you are getting to a right and safe investment back in Sri Lanka. Because the legal proceedings, if it goes to legal, that's tedious task in Sri Lanka, so we will avoid that kind of scenarios for our customers through this type of a partnership. And the second thing is, when you buy a land, leave it there for a longer time, so leave it empty may not be the ideal situation. So we have third-party trusted service suppliers who can do plantation, maybe plant 20-30 coconut trees or whatever the trees that you want. So when you are planning to sell it, because this could be an investment, selling after 5 or 10 years, you have a nice plot of land with grown-up trees that you can easily sell and at a higher price.